Hello everyone, and welcome to 6-Path Weeb. If you love Naruto fanfics, alternate timelines, and stories that completely change the fate of the ninja world, then you're in the right place. Today's story explores a powerful and emotional twist in the Naruto universe. What if Sarutobi raised Naruko? What would happen if the third Hokage himself became Naruko's guardian? Would her childhood be different? Would the village still fear her? And how much stronger could she become under the guidance of the professor of Konoha? Before we begin, here's a quick disclaimer. The content on this channel is made for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any anime footage, music, or visuals used in my videos. All rights belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, without wasting any more time, let's begin the story. Konoha, a peaceful village hidden within the land of fire, glowed warmly beneath the afternoon sun. Merchants smiled at passing customers, children laughed in the streets, and the scent of fresh bread drifted through the air. But in a small apartment near the edge of the village, 5-year-old Naruko Uzumaki sat alone on her bed with tears in her bright blue eyes. No one had visited her that day. No one ever did. "It's all right, Naruko," said a deep but gentle voice inside her mind. "None of this is your fault." Naruko sniffled and wiped her eyes. "Kurama?" she whispered. "Everyone says I'm a monster. Maybe they're right." "You are not a monster," the voice replied firmly. "You have one of the kindest hearts I've ever known. If anyone should carry blame, it's me." Naruko shook her head quickly. "No, Kurama. You told me what happened. You were controlled by someone using powerful eye techniques. You didn't want to hurt anyone." For a moment, the great fox inside her mind was silent. Then he chuckled softly. "You really are special, kid." Naruko smiled faintly. "Now then," Kurama continued, "how about we begin your training? I'll teach you how to unlock your chakra." Her eyes widened with excitement. "Really?" "Of course. First, use this hand seal and focus carefully." Naruko copied the seal exactly as Kurama instructed and closed her eyes in concentration. Long ago, Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, had been feared across the land. Many believed he attacked Konoha out of hatred. But the truth was far different. During the night Naruko was born, the seal containing Kurama had weakened. Though exhausted, the fox had tried to remain calm and avoid causing harm. Then a mysterious masked man appeared. Using a powerful Sharingan genjutsu, the stranger controlled Kurama and forced him into a terrible rampage. To save the village, the fourth Hokage sealed Kurama into his newborn daughter, hoping the people would one day see her as a hero. Sadly, that hope had not yet come true. Many villagers feared Naruko without knowing her story. Even so, Naruko continued smiling whenever she could. And deep within the seal, Kurama watched over her carefully. Naruko focused harder and suddenly felt a warm spark inside herself. Her eyes flew open. "I did it," she shouted happily. "Kurama, I can feel it." "Well done, kid," Kurama said proudly. At that exact moment, far away in the Hokage's office, Hiruzen Sarutobi looked up in surprise. "A sudden spike of chakra?" he muttered. "Could the nine tails be breaking free?" In a swirl of leaves, the old Hokage vanished using the body flicker technique. Moments later, there was a knock at Naruko's door. "It's the Hokage," Kurama said calmly. "Open the door. We can trust him." Naruko hurried over and opened it. Standing outside was Hiruzen Sarutobi in full battle armor, though concern softened his expression. "Naruko," he said gently, "are you all right?" "I'm fine, Gigi," Naruko answered with a smile. "You sensed the chakra, didn't you?" Kurama wasn't trying to escape. The Hokage blinked in surprise. "Kurama?" "That's the Nine Tails name," Naruko explained. "Please come in. Guests shouldn't stand outside." Inside the apartment, the two sat at a small table. "You can speak with the Nine Tails?" Hiruzen asked carefully. Naruko nodded. "Kurama has always talked to me. He's helped me a lot." The Hokage lowered his head sadly. "I'm sorry your childhood has been so lonely." Naruko shook her head. "You always checked on me when you could, Gigi. I know you tried." Hiruzen smiled gently at her kindness. "Do you know anything about your parents?" he asked. "No," Naruko answered quietly. "One day, when you are older and stronger, I will tell you," Hiruzen promised. "For now, it is safer to keep their identities secret." Naruko understood and nodded. Then she brightened again. "Kurama wants to talk with you directly." Could someone use a mind technique? Hiruzen's eyes widened slightly before he nodded. Soon, Inoki Yamanaka arrived in a flash of movement. You called for me, Hokage-sama? He asked. Then he noticed Naruko and smiled warmly. Good to see you again. You know each other? Hiruzen asked. Inoki nodded. I once saw shopkeepers refusing to sell her groceries. So I helped her buy food and walked her home. Naruko smiled gratefully. After a short explanation, Inoki used his clan's technique, allowing all three of them to enter Naruko's mindscape. They found themselves inside a long sewer-like corridor. This way, Naruko said cheerfully. Soon they reached a massive gate. Behind it sat an enormous orange fox with 9 flowing tails and wise crimson eyes. Welcome, Kurama said calmly. Hiruzen looked stunned but remained respectful. So, Kurama rumbled, you intend to train Naruko? I do, Hiruzen answered. Then I ask one thing, Kurama said. Do not allow her to use my chakra until she is truly ready. Her own strength must come first. You have my word, Hiruzen replied. Kurama turned toward Inoki. And I would appreciate your help teaching her mental discipline and resistance against illusions. Inoki smiled kindly. I'd be honored. Then Kurama spoke again, his voice quieter this time. I never wished to attack Konoha. I was controlled. Hiruzen closed his eyes sadly. The fourth Hokage believed that as well. For several moments, silence filled the mindscape. Finally, the Hokage bowed deeply. I am sorry for the suffering both of you endured. Naruko's eyes widened in surprise. Kurama simply nodded. Then help her grow strong, the fox said softly. Strong enough to protect the people she loves. The next morning, Naruko arrived eagerly at the Hokage's office. Hokage-sama. She announced proudly. I'm ready. Hiruzen laughed warmly. Very well. In another swirl of leaves, they appeared at a quiet training field surrounded by trees. Today, Hiruzen explained, we begin with chakra control. The leaf balancing exercise. Naruko tilted her head curiously. Can you show me first, Hokage-sensei? With a smile, Hiruzen placed a leaf on his forehead. It stayed perfectly balanced without moving at all. Naruko's eyes sparkled with determination. I'm going to master that too, she declared. And beneath the bright blue sky of Konoha, Naruko's journey truly began. Naruko did as instructed and listened carefully while Hokage-sama explained the exercise once more. She picked up the leaf, focused her chakra, and tried to make it stick to her forehead. The instant she pushed chakra into it, she blasted backward and landed in the grass with a surprised squeak. Keep trying, Naruko, said Sarutobi kindly. For the next 2 hours, Naruko practiced without giving up. Little by little, she learned to control the flow of chakra more gently. At last, she managed to keep the leaf attached for 10 whole minutes. Very good, Sarutobi praised with a proud smile. What's next, Hokage-sensei? Asked the young blonde girl. Next will be tree walking, said Sarutobi. After that, we will continue improving your taijutsu. Naruko tilted her head. I already know how to climb trees. Unless there's another way? Sarutobi chuckled warmly. You are very clever, Naruko-chan. He walked over to a nearby tree and calmly stepped onto the trunk. Without using his hands, he walked straight up the tree as if gravity meant nothing at all. Naruko's blue eyes widened in amazement. Sarutobi tossed her a kunai. Use this to mark how far you make it each time. For nearly an hour, Naruko struggled to balance her chakra properly. Sometimes she slipped after only a few steps. Other times she climbed halfway before tumbling into the grass. Even so, she refused to quit. Finally, Sarutobi raised a hand. That's enough for today. You're tired, but you did very well for a 5-year-old. XXX. Later that evening, Sarutobi sat in his office when a tall man with long white hair appeared by the window. You finally came, Jiraiya, said the Hokage. I searched everywhere, but I still found nothing about my former teammate, the white-haired ninja replied. Still, I would like to meet Naruko. Sarutobi nodded slowly. I should have allowed you to visit sooner. My spies can manage without me for a few weeks, said Jiraiya. How is she doing? Sarutobi sighed softly. The village still keeps its distance from her. I finally decided to begin teaching her chakra control. You said you would wait until she unlocked it naturally, Jiraiya replied. She did, said Sarutobi. The 9-tailed fox guided her. Jiraiya's eyes widened in alarm. You allowed her to speak with it? Calm yourself, Sarutobi answered. I spoke with it as well. From what I understand, it wishes to help Naruko. It also claimed it had been forced into attacking the village years ago. Jiraiya folded his arms thoughtfully. I see. The fox requested that Naruko avoid using its chakra until she is older and ready, Sarutobi continued. That actually sounds reasonable, Jiraiya admitted. It seems the fox has chosen cooperation instead of anger. Sarutobi smiled faintly. During the next training session, you may observe if you wish. It won't be easy to hide from her, will it? Jiraiya asked. Sarutobi laughed quietly. Not at all. Naruko can sense chakra surprisingly well. XXX. The next morning, Naruko arrived at the training ground early. Wanting to improve before her teacher arrived, she practiced tree climbing on her own. With a determined expression, she ran toward the tree. This time she climbed farther than ever before slipping off and landing safely in the grass. Hidden away, Sarutobi watched proudly through his crystal ball. Moments later, he appeared beside her and cleared his throat. You practiced before I arrived, he said. Excellent work. Naruko grinned brightly. I made it all the way to the top once, Hokage-sensei. Sarutobi looked up and spotted the kunai stuck near the highest branch. Well done, he praised. Today I will teach you the transformation jutsu, the substitution jutsu, and then another special clone technique. Naruko blinked curiously. Why do I sense another person nearby? Sarutobi smiled knowingly. You found my student, Jiraiya. Can you point out where he is? Naruko turned and pointed directly at a large tree nearby. 3 meters behind that tree. A loud voice suddenly boomed from above. Correct. It is I, Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin. Naruko stared at him for a moment. He's kind of strange, she said honestly. Jiraiya nearly fell out of the tree while Sarutobi burst into laughter. I am definitely writing that down later, the Hokage chuckled. Jiraiya is one of the village's strongest ninja and an excellent teacher. Jiraiya dusted himself off dramatically. I shall observe your training until you are ready for more advanced techniques. Sarutobi nodded. Naruko struggles with normal clones because of her large chakra reserves. Instead, I will teach her the shadow clone jutsu. Jiraiya looked shocked. That technique uses enormous chakra. Are you sure? Naruko, Sarutobi said calmly, gather your chakra. Naruko obeyed. Chakra swirled around her in visible waves. Jiraiya's eyes widened. That much chakra? Sarutobi smiled. You see my point. He demonstrated the hand seal. Shadow clone jutsu. A perfect copy of the Hokage appeared beside him. Naruko gasped in delight. Amazing. Now you try, said Sarutobi. Naruko practiced carefully. On her 5th attempt, dozens of identical copies suddenly appeared around the clearing. Jiraiya stared in complete disbelief. There are so many of her. The clones waved happily. Sarutobi nodded proudly. Shadow clones share their memories with the original when they disappear. It makes them very useful for studying and training. Naruko's eyes sparkled with excitement. That means I can learn lots of things faster. Exactly, said the Hokage. XXX. Soon, several clones sat beneath trees reading books about history and village leadership. Others practiced tree walking nearby while more clones studied chakra theory and basic academy techniques. Meanwhile, the real Naruko trained directly with Sarutobi in taijutsu. Hour after hour, she improved steadily. Though she still stumbled sometimes, her movements became quicker and more balanced. As the sun began to set, Jiraiya smiled proudly at her progress. You worked very hard today, Naruko. Naruko beamed happily. I want to become strong enough to protect the people important to me. Sarutobi placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. With your determination and kindness, I believe you will become a wonderful ninja someday. Naruko smiled brightly as the evening breeze rustled through the trees. For the first time in a long while, she truly felt that her future could be full of hope. They arrived at the small food stand and saw the owner waiting with a warm smile. Hokage-sama and Naruko, welcome back. What can I get for you today? The two placed their orders, and once the owner walked away to prepare the food, Sarutobi looked at Naruko thoughtfully. I am assigning you a B-rank mission, he said calmly. The mission will be complete after the final target is reached. Naruko blinked in surprise. What is the mission? And am I ready for it? Sarutobi gave a small smile. I want you to prank several important areas of the village. The purpose is to evaluate weaknesses in our defenses. Naruko tilted her head. Did you notify the leaders in charge? It would not be a proper test if they already knew, Sarutobi replied. Do you accept the mission? Yes, sir, Naruko answered confidently. You will begin tonight. The method is up to you, but remember, everything must remain harmless. Naruko nodded. Understood. XXX. Later that evening, Naruko returned to her apartment and spread out her collection of prank supplies across the floor. First stop, she said with determination, the Onbu headquarters. She remembered the order her teacher had given her and grinned mischievously. XXX. The next morning, confusion filled the Onbu headquarters. Several Onbu masks now had giant painted letters on them, either F for forgetful or L for late. Some of the agents had discovered that their hair had been temporarily dyed bright neon colors while they slept during break shifts. Even so, the prank had caused no harm, and many secretly admitted that the colorful hair was surprisingly funny. Overall, Naruko considered the infiltration a success. XXX. Later that day, Naruko stood in the Hokage's office. Beside Sarutobi stood the Onbu commander, who looked serious but calm despite the large painted L still visible on her mask. Naruko handed over a detailed report. Here is my evaluation of the first target, she explained. I also included suggestions for improving security. Patrol routes should change more often so intruders cannot predict them easily. I see, the commander replied thoughtfully. Do you have any additional recommendations? You are taking this very well, Inu, Naruko said with a smile. When my team's safety is involved, I welcome advice, Inu answered honestly. What else did you notice? Naruko pointed to part of her report. Some guards should monitor the ceilings and upper walls more carefully. I was able to bypass several checkpoints using surface walking techniques. Inu nodded immediately. That is valuable information. Also, Naruko continued, Snake, Nico, and Crane nearly caught me several times. They deserve praise for their awareness. A hint of pride entered Inu's voice. I will make note of that. Naruko crossed her arms playfully. Next time, though, I will not go easy on any of you. That earned a few quiet chuckles around the office. Thank you, Uzumaki Naruko, Inu said respectfully. These improvements will help us protect the village better. XXX. After the commander left, Naruko turned toward the Hokage. Overall, I gave them a passing grade, she said. 3 members came very close to catching me. Sarutobi smiled warmly. Excellent work, Naruko. You helped the village improve today. He handed her a pouch containing her mission payment. Tomorrow, meet me at the training grounds, the Hokage continued. It is time for your training to advance to the next level. Naruko's eyes sparkled with excitement. Yes, Hokage-sama, she said happily. Naruko had learned many things from the wise third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. During the past year, she had also trained with Jiraiya, who taught her patience, focus, and creative ninja techniques. Even at her young age, Naruko showed great promise and discipline. You did very well, Naruko-chan, said Sarutobi with a warm smile. Now it is time for you to make friends at the academy. I understand, said Naruko politely. Thank you for teaching me so much. The new school year has already begun, said Sarutobi. I will place you with the graduating class. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Naruko replied with a respectful bow. XXX. The next morning, 6-and-a-half-year-old Naruko walked through the village on her way to the ninja academy. The sunlight painted the streets gold, and she felt both excited and nervous. When she reached the academy building, she checked her classroom assignment. Room 307, she whispered to herself. 3rd floor, 7th room. After climbing the stairs, she stopped at the classroom door and knocked softly. Inside stood a brown-haired Chunin instructor named Iruka Umino. Class, Iruka announced, we have a new student joining us today. She skipped 2 grades, so please welcome your new classmate. Naruko stepped inside calmly. Greetings, she said. My name is Naruko Uzumaki. A student in the back blinked in surprise. She's only 6, Iruka-sensei. 6-and-a-half, Naruko corrected kindly. Another student crossed his arms. You don't look very strong. Naruko smiled softly. Strength comes from practice and learning, not just size. Iruka nodded approvingly. That is a good lesson for everyone. A black-haired boy stood from his seat with polite confidence. It was Itachi Uchiha. I would be honored to spar with you, Uzumaki-san, he said. Very well, Iruka replied. We'll have a friendly practice match outside. XXX. The students gathered around the academy training yard as Naruko and Itachi stood across from one another. Remember, said Iruka, this is only practice. Follow the academy rules and show respect. Both students nodded. Begin. Naruko leapt backward with surprising agility and tossed a practice kunai toward Itachi. He quickly dodged and landed lightly on his feet. The students watched with amazement as the two young ninja moved quickly but carefully, testing each other's skills. Their practice match was full of clever movements, balance, and teamwork exercises they had learned in class. Itachi finally found someone who can keep up with him, whispered a brown-haired girl with red markings on her cheeks. She was Hana Inuzuka. Naruko noticed one of Itachi's clever feints and smiled. You're very skilled, she admitted. So are you, Itachi replied. After several more exchanges, both students stepped back at the same time. Iruka raised his hand. Excellent work. This match is a draw. The class burst into excited chatter. Naruko and Itachi bowed respectfully to each other. You fought very well, Naruko, Itachi said. Thank you, Naruko replied happily. XXX. At lunchtime, Naruko sat quietly beneath a tree with her meal. She did not mind being alone, but she wondered what it would feel like to truly belong somewhere. A shadow appeared beside her. May I sit here? Itachi asked. Naruko smiled. Of course. The two ate together peacefully for a moment before Hana walked over. You both did great during the spar, Hana said cheerfully. Thank you, Naruko replied. Naruko noticed the small fang-like markings on Hana's cheeks. You're part of the Inuzuka clan, right? Hana nodded proudly. Yep. Do you already have your ninja partners? Naruko asked curiously. I do, Hana said. They're husky puppies. They're still too young to come to school, though. Naruko's eyes brightened. That sounds wonderful. I'd love to meet them someday. My mother likes meeting my friends, Hana said thoughtfully. Maybe you could visit sometime. I wouldn't want to trouble anyone, Naruko said politely. It wouldn't be trouble, Hana replied with a grin. Itachi nodded. The Inuzuka clan values friendship and teamwork very highly. I've read about many of Konoha's clans, Naruko explained. Each one has something special that helps the village. The three students spent the rest of lunch talking happily together. XXX. Later that afternoon, Iruka stood at the front of the classroom. Today, he said, we will discuss the Shikaku Nara clan and their unique abilities. Can anyone tell me about them? Itachi raised his hand first. The Nara clan uses shadow techniques. They are also known for their intelligence, planning skills, and medicine knowledge, Naruko added. Excellent, Iruka said proudly. Very good. After the lesson, Iruka assigned homework. I want each of you to write 3 pages about a clan of your choosing, he explained. However, you may not choose your own clan. Naruko turned toward Hana. Would it be alright if I wrote about the Inuzuka clan? She asked. Hana smiled brightly. I'm sure my mother would love that. XXX. That afternoon, Hana and Naruko walked together through the lively streets of Konoha until they reached the Inuzuka compound. Mom, I'm home. Hana called. And I brought a friend. A tall woman with confident eyes stepped into the hallway. This was Tsume Inuzuka. Naruko stood politely and bowed. This is Naruko Uzumaki, Hana explained. Tsume studied the young girl for a moment before smiling warmly. It's nice to meet you, Naruko. It's nice to meet you too, Tsume-sama, Naruko replied. Hana said you wanted to learn about our clan for a school project, Tsume said. Yes, ma'am, Naruko answered. I would be honored. Tsume chuckled kindly. Good manners and curiosity. I like that. She gestured toward the hallway. Hana, take her to the family library. There are many books about our history and traditions there. Hana nodded eagerly. Come on, Naruko. Naruko followed her new friend down the hall, feeling something warm bloom inside her heart. For the first time in a long while, she felt like she might truly belong. Naruko was reading about the history and founding of the Inuzuka clan. She turned another page carefully and smiled with interest. I am impressed, said Naruko. Your clan signed a contract with Inari. That is amazing. Our founding clan had actually worked with foxes in battle, said Hana proudly. As time passed, The clan welcomed many kinds of canine partners instead. That is fascinating, said Naruko. A few hundred years later, your clan became one of the great clans that helped form the village. That is right, said Hana. Naruko continued reading through the scroll. She was surprised by how much history the clan carried and how little people spoke about it. This clan is just as impressive as the Uchiha clan, only without the prideful attitude, said Naruko thoughtfully. Though I think Itachi is an exception. Why, thank you, Naruko, said Tsume as she walked into the room with a grin. Dinner is ready. If you would like to stay, I saved a place for you. I appreciate it, said Naruko warmly. Naruko sat at the table with Hana, Tsume, and a young boy around her age with messy brown hair. Naruko, this is Kiba, said Tsume. It is nice to meet you, said Naruko politely. Kiba grinned. Nice to meet you too. The dinner was lively and cheerful. Kiba talked excitedly about training with the clan dogs, Hana shared stories from missions, and Naruko listened with bright curiosity. By the end of the evening, she felt more welcome than ever. XXX. The years passed quickly for Naruko. Much of the academy work was easy for her because the third Hokage and her other teachers had already taught her far beyond the lessons in class. On the day of the graduation exams, Naruko walked beside Itachi and Hana. Itachi, this is it, said Naruko with a confident smile. After the exams, I want another spar with you. Itachi gave a calm nod. Then we will see which of us is stronger today. Honestly, you two are impossible, said Hana with a laugh. Your score is tied at 50 wins each. Then this match will decide everything, said Naruko dramatically. No pressure, Itachi. Itachi allowed himself a tiny smile. XXX. Iruka stood proudly before the students. First is the written test, he announced as papers were handed out. The room became quiet except for the scratching of pencils. After some time, Iruka collected the tests and moved on. Next is the ninjutsu portion. One by one, the students demonstrated their techniques. Hana completed hers smoothly and returned with a confident smile. Itachi performed his perfectly, earning an approving nod from Iruka. Finally, it was Naruko's turn. Naruko stepped forward calmly and completed the assigned jutsu with excellent control. Several students stared in amazement. Very good, Iruka said with clear approval. Finally, we will move on to taijutsu, Iruka continued. I will personally test each student. The teacher glanced at Itachi and Naruko with suspicion. That is because two students nearly destroyed the training field during their last spar. Naruko and Itachi quickly looked away and pretended not to notice. Many students struggled through the test, but Hana impressed Iruka with her balance and quick thinking. She gently redirected his movements and earned a passing mark immediately. Itachi skillfully avoided Iruka's attacks and ended the match with precise technique. Then it was Naruko's turn. Naruko focused carefully and used a controlled chakra-enhanced punch against a practice target nearby. The force surprised everyone as the target slid across the field. Iruka blinked in shock before letting out a tired sigh. Perhaps a little less strength next time, he said. Sorry, Naruko replied sheepishly. After the testing ended, Iruka smiled proudly at the class. The rookie of the year is Itachi Uchiha, he announced. Naruko Uzumaki earned second place despite missing several academy years, and Hana Inuzuka is Kunoichi of the year. The students applauded happily. Please return next week for your team assignments, said Iruka. XXX. Naruko walked outside with Itachi and Hana beneath the warm afternoon sun. We should celebrate with some food, said Naruko excitedly. I know a ramen shop that makes the best bowls in the village. Hana laughed softly. That does sound tempting. Itachi shook his head apologetically. I cannot today. Father needs me for an important meeting. That is too bad, said Naruko, though she smiled anyway. Next time, then. Next time, Itachi agreed. I have to go and learn my clan jutsu, said Hana with a cheerful smile. Oh, okay, said Naruko, trying not to sound disappointed. She wandered through the busy village streets with her hands tucked behind her head. The warm afternoon breeze carried the sweet smell of roasted chestnuts and fresh bread from the nearby shops. As she passed a small snack stand, she spotted a familiar woman happily enjoying dango. Anko. Naruko called. The woman turned around with a grin. Well, if it isn't my favorite little troublemaker, Anko said playfully. Her eyes quickly noticed the forehead protector tied proudly around Naruko's head. You graduated. Congratulations. Naruko rubbed the back of her neck with a sheepish smile. Thanks. The exam wasn't too hard. Anko laughed softly. Still, becoming a ninja is a big step. You should be proud of yourself. Naruko brightened a little at the kind words. So, Anko asked while offering her a stick of sweet dango, who are you hoping to end up on a team with? Naruko happily accepted the treat. Itachi and Hana-chan. Anko placed a dramatic hand over her heart. Hana-chan? Replacing me already? I'm wounded. Naruko giggled. You'll always be fun to hang around with, Anko-chan. That's much better, Anko said with a satisfied nod. Naruko took a bite of dango and smiled. Besides, Itachi works really well with Hana-chan. They're both super smart. And what about you? Anko teased. What do you bring to the team? Naruko puffed out her cheeks proudly. Energy. Anko burst into laughter loud enough to make nearby villagers glance over. Well, Anko said once she caught her breath, that team would never be boring. Naruko grinned from ear to ear. The afternoon sun slowly dipped lower in the sky, painting the village rooftops gold. Naruko stretched her arms and started walking backward down the street. I should head home now, Anko-chan. See you later. See you, Naruko. Anko waved. And don't forget to celebrate your graduation. Naruko smiled warmly as she hurried off through the lively village, already dreaming about the adventures waiting for her tomorrow. Dear YouTube family. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thank you for your support and being part of this journey. Regards. 6 Path Weeb.